Welcome along to today's video, and we're going to be looking at fitting the GT3 smile vent into our brand new freshly painted GT3 style bumper. Well, 997 Aero bumper from the Gen 1. So as you've seen previously, my car's a Gen 2, but I prefer the look of the Gen 1 bumper. So you can buy these brand new from Porsche, around about 850 quid including VAT, and it includes all the plastic trims for going behind the vent holes. But you will also have to purchase the radiator ducting and the middle radiator vent ducting if you've got the middle radiator, as well as the Gen 2 stuff slightly different. So we're going to be fitting the smile vent into here, into the front, and to do that you're going to have to obviously have a smile vent. These are cheap enough from Porsche, around about £60, but they come with really poor brackets, so I've designed some rear clamp brackets which will secure the vent in place and hold it against the bumper from underneath without causing any distortion. And then you're going to need a template for cutting as well. So before you start doing any cutting, you're going to need to mask up the front end, because when you put the template on you don't want it to be scratching the paint, so a couple of layers of painter's tape should do nicely. And then you need to find a centre point, because if it's off to one side slightly, your grill's going to be on the off-centred and it's going to look a bit of a mess. And then you need to offer up your template onto the bumper and mark where your template sits at each end, and ensure that it is not too far down the front of the front or too close to the top, as it needs to be sat in the correct place to avoid the foam padding on the rear, and also so it doesn't look wrong. And then once you're happy with that, you can then secure your template to your bumper, and to do that you're going to have to drill through the holes with some self-tapping screws to secure it in place, which will then allow you to use your jigsaw to cut through where the guide slots are after drilling some pilot holes so you can get the jigsaw blade in. Before you make any cuts, measure many times, as you only get one chance at this and it's an expensive bit of kit. Once you're happy with the placement, fit all the screws and tighten them down nicely. Don't over tighten them, as they will just start spinning in the plastic and you won't get any tension on the template. You can then use a step drill to drill out the pilot holes all the way along before you start running down with your jigsaw. The reason we use a step drill is the plastic's nice and soft, so if you start off ever slightly off centre, the step drill will follow the profile of the template and then the holes will be central. Not that it makes much difference, because this bit's sacrificial where we put the screws in and it's going to be removed, but it just makes for a little bit of an easier job when cutting. So that's started off nicely, central into the hole, so we'll do the remaining ones and then we'll come back with the jigsaw. Now we've got all the holes drilled in the template, we're all nicely centred within the template holes. We can then start with the jigsaw. So use a nice fine blade. You don't want to be using a ripping blade for wood or anything like that, as it will literally rip the bumper in bits. So something like a 32 TPI plastic or steel cutting blade will do the job just nicely. Don't go too fast, as you'll overheat the plastic and you will melt it. But you want to go fast enough that it cuts Not too fast that it melts due to friction, but not too slow that it burns due to buildup of heat in a localized place as well. Once you've finished cutting through all the holes on the template, this is something what you'll be left with. You can then remove the screws, and then you'll have to just quickly nip through the little tabs holding the plastic central portion which we're removing to the rest of the bumper. You can use either the jigsaw again to cut through, or you can use a Stanley knife just to gently slice through. And then once that's been done, you can then deburr all the edges using the back of a Stanley blade, pulling it towards you, trailing, and it'll take all the plastic burrs off. Or you can use a deburring tool if you've got one. Once you've deburred all the edges, you can then test fit the grille by dropping it into place. If it doesn't fit anywhere, you can then gently trim up with your Stanley knife on the bumper to make sure that the trim fits in nicely. Once you're happy with the fitment, you can then remove it and remove your masking tape, and then we'll be securing it from the rear using these custom blocks. So each one is slightly different tool, and it fits in a specific location on the grille to allow clamping against the bumper, taking into account the contours of the bumper. And once fitted in place, these will secure the grille from behind and prevent it lifting out, instead of using double-sided tape or the really horrible spring metal fixings from Porsche, which can cause damage and deformation to the bumper. So these will be available from myself. So if you want to set, then get in touch. The fixtures are stainless steel. So the T25 stainless steel Torx screws, which are the correct profile for going into the back of the grille. We can now turn the bumper around for easier access, and then we can start fitting the securing blocks on the back. Start at the middle with the top and bottom, fit them loosely, and then work outwards to the edges. And then once you're happy with it, secure the middle ones down first, ensure that it's clamped nice tight but not overly tight, and that it doesn't cause any cracking to the screw holes on the grille itself. Then work your way outwards, ensuring that it's nice and even as you go across. When you're fitting the side ones, take special care to note that the angle follows the contour of the bumper, as you don't want to be fitting the wrong-handed one, as you can see here, against the bumper. Otherwise it'll deform the bumper and won't fit correctly, and it won't pull the grille flush. So just make sure you fit the correct angle ones in the respective locations. Once you've fitted them all and tightened them all down nicely, this is what it'll look like. So as you can see, each one follows a profile of the bumper underneath and is an almost invisible fitment. So it's absolutely perfect, and these will ensure that the grille stays nice and secure, isn't deformed, and is pulled tight into the bumper. And then from the top, as you can see, there's no nasty lines or any rippling effect from the grille being pulled taut. And the gap is 0. The grille's nicely held in place, and if you look down the vent itself, all you can see is the outline of the clamps holding it in place, instead of seeing a dirty, horrible metal strip behind each one. So once you're happy with that, you can then fit your bumper back to your car. But if this video has been useful for you, subscribe, press that bell and all that good stuff. And if you're wanting a set of these clips to hold your GT3 style smile vent in place, then drop me a message. I will ship worldwide. It's not a problem at all. Worldwide shipping is available. and we'll catch you again.